The day the judge looked Victoria in the eye, I finally knew peace. But that peace cost me everything. My home, my savings, and the son I thought I knew. It all started with a simple question, the one my daughter, Sarah, asked right before she saw the empty refrigerator. "Mom," she whispered, her voice tight, "why is the thermostat stuck at 58 degrees? I was sitting in the gloom, wrapped in 3 sweaters and a scarf, the chill seeping into my very bones. I told her I preferred the cold. A lie. I told her I was saving money for a trip. Another lie, the truth. I hadn't seen the gas bill in 6 months. I hadn't even seen my pension money, the $8,000 my late husband, Tom, and I had worked 40 years to secure. Victoria, my daughter-in-law, my son Michael's wife, controlled it. She called it financial management. I called it slow death. When Sarah's eyes finally landed on the BMW parked in my driveway, Victoria's brand new, charcoal gray, fully loaded German luxury car, something inside Sarah snapped. This woman was driving a machine that cost more than my annual salary, while I was shivering inside a house that smelled like expired milk and desperation. Sarah turned back to me, her jaw clenched tight enough to crack a tooth. "Where is the food, Mom? You get $8,000 a month. Where is the damn money?" That's when Victoria glided into the doorway, perfectly made up, holding a latte. A smug smile plastered across her face. "I control every dollar she receives," she purred, "and she gets exactly what she needs." What I needed. I was subsisting on ketchup packets and plain white rice. But the one thing I needed most, Sarah was about to give me. Justice. Victoria's words. Exactly what she needs, echoed in the cold air. The audacity of her statement, delivered with such casual cruelty, was breathtaking. I remember thinking, is this my life now? Am I just a slow-moving cash cow for this woman? But Sarah didn't argue. She didn't shout. She just looked at Victoria, then down at the expensive designer handbag Victoria had perched on the counter. Then, Sarah did something completely unexpected. She reached into her ears, yanked out her diamond stud earrings, the ones Tom had given her on her 16th birthday, and dropped them into my shaking hand. "Keep these, Mom," she said, her voice dangerously soft. "You might need to sell them for groceries before I'm done." She didn't wait for Victoria's shocked reply. She just walked to the kitchen counter, picked up her phone, and started filming. The game had changed. It wasn't about surviving anymore. It was about documenting a crime. You might be thinking, how could a son let this happen? That's the question that kept me awake in the freezing nights. Michael stood silently by, believing his wife's lie that I was confused and would just waste the money. His silence was a betrayal far deeper than Victoria's theft. But this story isn't just about betrayal. It's about a daughter who fights back with receipts, forensic accounting, and a hunger for justice. Before we dive into the dark truth hidden in Victoria's computer, I need to know something. Have you ever seen a family member or a neighbor go through something like this? Drop a yes in the comments right now. Your stories are important. And if you want to see how this daughter brought down her conniving sister-in-law, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. We're building a community here that protects the vulnerable. Don't miss the next step in this shocking courtroom drama. That Tuesday afternoon, when Sarah rang the doorbell twice, she didn't just bring groceries. She brought a storm. I was down to 100 for £30 to pounds gone in 6 months. My body was literally eating itself to survive. I had accepted it, but Sarah hadn't. That moment, standing on the threshold between my freezing home and Sarah's fierce protection, was the start of the war. The house had become my cage, Tom and I bought it 40 years ago. Now, I felt like a trespasser. When Sarah marched into the living room and saw the thermostat's digital display 58F, the air seemed to freeze further. Her tight jaw reminded me exactly of Tom when he was angry. Mom, it's 40 degrees outside. Why is it freezing in here? I tried the practiced excuse. I prefer cooler temperatures. It's better for my arthritis. But she saw the lie in my hollowed-out cheeks, in the way my old jeans sagged despite the tight belt. She didn't wait for my answer. She walked straight into the kitchen, and I heard the dreaded sound, the refrigerator door opening. She returned with a bottle of expired milk and 3 sticky ketchup packets. Mom, where is your food? Where are the groceries? I have crackers in the pantry, dear, and some rice. I spoke softly, hoping to contain the coming explosion. But it was too late. Sarah pulled out her phone. I knew who she was calling. Michael, my son. Through the speaker, Michael's voice was dismissive. Look, Victoria handles Mom's finances now. It's easier. You know how Mom gets confused with bills. Confused. Sarah's voice was sharp enough to slice through glass. Mom worked as a bookkeeper for 30 years. Try again, Michael. What's wrong is that she's starving in a freezing house with nothing but condiments in her fridge. The sound of click-clacking heels announced the villain's entrance. Victoria stood there, smiling. That smile, that perfectly manicured, confident smile made my blood run cold. She actually enjoyed this. Is there a problem? Victoria's voice was surly sweet. Yes, there's a problem, Sarah shot back. Why is my mother starving? She gets an $8,000 pension every month. That's more than enough to live comfortably. Victoria leaned against the doorframe, radiating contempt. Well, someone has to manage that money responsibly. Your mother would just waste it. Besides, she paused, letting the next words sink in. I consider it fair payment for allowing her to continue living in this house. Allowing her in her own house. The house Tom and I bought in 1985. The house I raised them in. Sarah's face went blank. I had only seen that expression once before, right before she broke a bully's nose. At the age of 12. Mom, Sarah said, her eyes locked on Victoria. Get your winter coat. Now. Victoria stumbled away from the doorframe. She's not going anywhere. We have an arrangement. I have legal authority over her finances. She's not competent. An arrangement? Sarah repeated, softer this time. Is that what we're calling elder abuse now? Michael finally stepped in, placing a hand on Victoria's shoulder. He looked at me apologetically. Mom, maybe you should just stay. Victoria is right. The money needs to be managed properly. Managed? Sarah's voice could have frozen water. Is that what you call stealing someone's pension while they slowly starve? I had my coat on. Sarah took my arm, steering me toward the door. Victoria laughed. You can't just take her. She's not competent. We'll see about that, Sarah said, and we were out the door in the car. Sarah turned the key and then stopped, turning to face me. Mom, I need you to trust me for the next 3 months. Don't tell anyone what we're about to do. Can you do that? I nodded, shaking, but not from the cold anymore. My daughter had a plan, and Victoria had no idea the kind of fire she had unleashed. Our destination was St. Mary's Hospital emergency room. I don't need a hospital. Sarah, I'm just tired, I protested. She looked at me, her eyes too bright. Mom, when was the last time you had a full, real meal? Not crackers and rice. I couldn't remember it in there. They weighed me. 100 for pounds. I used to be 136. The young doctor looked at my blood test results, his face grave. Mrs. Chin, you are severely malnourished. Your B12 levels are critical. Your body is eating itself to survive. As the doctor spoke, Sarah was photographing everything. The test results, the doctor's notes, the nutrition assessment. She was gathering evidence. A social worker named Patricia sat beside me. This is elder abuse, Mrs. Chin, she said gently. What's being done to you is a crime. Crime? Hearing that word changed everything. It wasn't my son's bad choices. It was a crime. We left the hospital 2 hours later with a folder stuffed with medical records. Sarah didn't take me home. She drove me to a small bank near the university. We're going to redirect a portion of your pension here, Sarah explained to the banker. Not all of it yet. Just enough that Victoria won't notice right away. But this money is yours, Mom. Only yours. That night, in Sarah's warm kitchen, with real soup in my hands, she opened her laptop. Mom, I need to show you something. It's going to be hard to see, but you need to know. The screen lit up with the history from my home computer. But these weren't my searches. Life expectancy calculator. Elderly woman. Average time before inheritance distribution. How to become power of attorney. Nutritional deficiency symptoms. Elderly. The dates went back to full years. 2 years of Victoria researching, planning, calculating how long I might live and how to speed up the process. My hands started shaking so badly I couldn't hold the spoon. Mom, Sarah said, closing the laptop and taking my hands. We're going to fix this. All of it. But I need you to trust me and follow my lead. The next morning, we met with Robert Caldwell, an attorney specializing in elder law. He insisted on one thing: cognitive testing. The first thing your daughter-in-law will claim is that you are confused and manipulated. He explained. We're going to eliminate that argument before she can make it. 3 hours of memory exercises and problem-solving later, Mr. Caldwell smiled. Your cognitive function is excellent, Mrs. Chin. Better than average for your age group, actually. Then, Sarah spread out my bank statements. Mr. Caldwell put on his reading glasses. 2 years, he said, his expression grim. She's been systematically stealing from you for 2 years. Based on these statements, I estimate nearly $200,000. $200,000. My pension. Gone. We hired Jennifer, a forensic accountant. She showed us the paper trail. $3,000 designer purses, and $8,000 vacation to Hawaii. Hundreds on expensive restaurant dinners. All paid for with the money that should have been buying me heat and food. This is enough for criminal charges, Jennifer said quietly. Fraud. Elder abuse. Financial exploitation. Mr. Caldwell immediately drafted an irrevocable trust. My house, my investment accounts, my life insurance, everything went into this protected structure with Sarah as the sole trustee. Once this is done, Victoria has no access, no claim, no power. I signed the pages, my hand shaking, each signature reclaiming a piece of the life Victoria had tried to steal. The next legal move was the most painful. The new will. Mr. Caldwell drafted it exactly as Sarah and I discussed. I looked at my son Michael's name, with $1 listed next to it. My throat tightened. Michael, my baby boy. But I thought about him standing behind Victoria, nodding as she explained why starving me was reasonable. Are you sure about this? Mr. Caldwell asked gently. I'm sure, I whispered. Some choices cannot be undone. Sarah wasn't done collecting evidence. She drove me around town, gathering statements from people I barely knew. Jerry, the mail carrier who had seen me looking for Bottles in recycling bins for the 5-cent deposit. Lisa, the pharmacist who noticed when I stopped filling my blood pressure medication. Mrs. Patterson from next door who had seen my lights off at night. And Victoria's new car in my driveway. Everyone saw. Mom, Sarah said. Everyone knew something was wrong. They're all willing to testify. 3 weeks later, I was gaining weight, sleeping in Sarah's warm guest room, and eating full meals. Sarah typed a text to Michael. Mom is staying with me from now on. You and Victoria are no longer needed as caregivers. Thank you for your past help. The phone started ringing immediately. Victoria's name flashed on the screen. Sarah declined. Then the aggressive knocking started on Monday afternoon. I sat in the living room as Sarah opened the door, just wide enough to block the entrance. We need to see Mom, Michael demanded, but Victoria pushed forward. Where is the pension money? It didn't come to the account this month. Sarah's voice was perfectly calm. The pension is going to a different account now, one that only Mom can access. Victoria's face flushed crimson. You can't do that. I have power of attorney. I manage her finances. Actually, you don't, Sarah corrected her sweetly. You never did. You just took her debit card and convinced her and Michael that you had authority. You never legally possessed. I deserve compensation. Victoria shrieked. Do you know how much professional caregiving costs? Caregiving? Sarah pulled out her phone and showed them the screen. She weighed 104 pounds when I took her to the hospital. Severe malnutrition and neglect. The doctors documented it. You took her without our permission. We're filing a complaint. Please do, Sarah said, her voice dropping. I'd love to see you explain to a judge why you stole nearly $200. Zero of her pension money while she was eating crackers and rice for every meal. Victoria's color drained. I didn't steal anything. I paid bills. The forensic accountant we hired traced every dollar. $3,000 purses. An $8,000 vacation to Hawaii. Hundreds of dollars on restaurant meals while Mom was going through neighbors' trash, looking for bottles to recycle. Michael looked at Victoria, confusion and doubt finally clouding his eyes. Sarah raised her phone again. Before you finish the threat, you should know that I've been recording this entire conversation. Also, I have copies of your search history from Mom's computer. Life expectancy calculator. Elderly woman. How long before inheritance after death? I watched Victoria's face go from white to gray. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Get off my property, Sarah said quietly. If you come back, I'll have you arrested. If you try any legal action, I'll provide all of this evidence to the police and the district attorney. Michael grabbed Victoria's arm and pulled her back to the car. She was screaming about lawyers, but the confidence was gone. Her voice was hollow, desperate. Fighting back meant watching Victoria's world collapse. Mr. Caldwell sent 3 certified letters, each a legal blow. The first was a civil litigation demand for restitution and punitive damages totaling $500,000. The second was a formal notification of the irrevocable trust and my updated will, cutting Michael to $1. The third was a summons to appear for a police interview regarding the financial fraud. Victoria called Sarah, not screaming this time, but crying, begging. Please, I'll pay it back. Just make this stop. You should discuss that with your attorney, Sarah replied steadily. Then, Michael called my old phone number. Mom, please tell me Victoria's lying. She said she only married me for your money. She wasted years waiting for an inheritance, and now it's gone. The pain in his voice was real, but so was the memory of him standing by. Did you know she was taking the pension money? That you were losing weight? He sobbed, You saw my refrigerator, Michael. You saw me wearing 3 sweaters in my own house because I couldn't afford heat. I thought you were just being stubborn. Victoria said you were refusing to eat properly. He stopped. Oh my God. I believed her. Yes, I said quietly. You did. 3 days later, Michael filed for divorce. But Mr. Caldwell found the real, bone-chilling twist during his routine public records check. Victoria took out a life insurance policy on me 3 years ago. $500,000. I was the insured. She was the beneficiary. I stared at the policy documents, at my forged signature. I never signed this. I know, Mr. Caldwell said grimly. That's insurance fraud on top of everything else. Combined with her search history and the documented neglect, it establishes clear intent. Sarah took my hand. Mom, she whispered. She was waiting for you to die. The criminal trial began 6 months after I left the house. The prosecutor, a sharp woman named Daniels, presented the evidence methodically. First, the $200,000 in stolen funds, documented transaction by transaction. Then, the medical evidence, my 104-pound weight, the malnutrition, the doctor's grave notes. Finally, the search history on a large screen for everyone to see. Life expectancy calculator. Elderly woman. How long before inheritance distribution? Victoria's attorney tried to argue confusion, management, anything. Then, the prosecutor brought out the final piece of evidence. Victoria's own Excel spreadsheet. It wasn't just a search. It was a calculation, a chart detailing inheritance amounts at different life expectancy scenarios. She wasn't waiting. She was planning. Victoria was found guilty on 3 counts: elder financial exploitation, grand theft, and insurance fraud. The judge looked at the former Michael and Victoria. Delivering his final verdict, he cited the calculated cruelty, the systematic starvation, and the premeditated theft. Victoria was sentenced to 7 years in federal prison and ordered to pay full restitution. Michael, though not criminally charged, lost everything: his wife, his mother's inheritance, and any shred of my trust. I never moved back into that house. Sarah helped me sell it, and the proceeds were safely added to my trust. I now live in a beautiful, warm condo near Sarah, where the fridge is always full, and the thermostat is always set to 72 degrees. The betrayal was a deep wound, but the fight taught me 2 things: my own value and the true meaning of family. Victoria drove a BMW while I starved, but the law saw the truth, and justice was served. If my story helps just one person recognize the warning signs of financial abuse, the sudden drop in home temperature, the empty pantry, the distant child, then every freezing night was worth it. Did Sarah do the right thing by cutting Michael out of the will? Tell me what you think in the comments below. Should he have been held more accountable? And if you want to see more shocking stories of justice served, smash that like button and hit subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next time we expose a truth too wild for fiction. Be safe and know your worth.